Ethan Cole never wanted attention. He was the kind of man who walked quietly, worked quietly, and lived quietly, not because he lacked ambition, but because life had already taught him enough lessons in humility. After losing his parents young and raising his younger sister Emma on his own, he took whatever jobs he could find. For the past 3 years, that meant working as a janitor at Pierce Innovations, Alexander Pierce's empire of tech and luxury brands. Most of the employees liked Ethan. He was helpful, polite, and always ready to lend a hand. Everyone liked him, except Alexander. To Alexander, Ethan was invisible at best and irritating at worst. The CEO wasn't cruel by accident, he was cruel by personality. Born rich, raised entitled, and encouraged by everyone around him to believe he was a world-class gift to humanity, Alexander walked through hallways like a king among peasants. And Ethan? He was just another peasant. One Wednesday morning, everything began to unravel. Ethan had just finished sweeping the executive lobby when he accidentally bumped into Alexander's tennis bag, a custom-made, monogrammed leather bag worth more than Ethan made in 3 months. A tennis ball rolled out, bumping gently against Ethan's shoe. "Watch it!" Alexander snapped. "Do you have any idea what that costs?" "I'm sorry, sir," Ethan said quickly, bending to pick up the ball. "Don't touch it," Alexander hissed. Ethan froze mid-movement. Madison Clark, Alexander's glamorous fiancée, watched from a few feet away with a look of discomfort. Ethan had always noticed she treated people a lot kinder than Alexander did, even though she lived in the same wealthy circles. "Alex, it's fine," she said softly. "It's just a ball." "No," Alexander said loudly, "it's not fine. I don't want someone like him putting his hands on my things." Ethan felt heat rise up his neck but kept quiet. He was used to humiliation. But Madison wasn't. "Alex, stop. This is embarrassing." For him, maybe, the CEO smirked. "Not for me." A few employees glanced over nervously. Alexander wasn't done. "What, you want to play tennis with me someday, janitor?" he mocked. "Think you could keep up? I'm ranked number 3 at Riverside Elite." Ethan smiled weakly. "I used to play a little, actually." Alexander laughed so loudly it echoed through the marble lobby. "You? Play tennis? That's cute." "It was a long time ago," Ethan said quietly. "I'm sure I'm rusty." Madison tilted her head, intrigued. "Really? Where did you play?" Before Ethan could answer, Alexander stepped in front of him. "All right, this I've gotta see. Tell you what," he lifted his chin arrogantly, "how about a little bet? Beat me in tennis and I'll, I don't know, marry you?" The employees gasped. Madison's face turned pale. "Alex, what the hell?" she whispered. "What?" he shrugged. "It's not like he'll win. It's a joke. A harmless joke." Ethan forced a small chuckle, trying to take the edge off the humiliation. "It's okay. I don't want any." "No, no," Alexander cut in. "Let's make it interesting. This Saturday. Riverside Elite. Let the whole club watch the janitor get destroyed." Madison stared at Ethan, regret in her eyes. "He's just being stupid," she whispered. But Ethan, his pride aching, nodded slowly. "I'll be there." Alexander laughed triumphantly. "This is going to be hilarious." As the CEO strutted off, Madison lingered. "Ethan. I'm really sorry. He shouldn't have said that." "You don't need to apologize for him," Ethan replied with a small smile. She hesitated. "You really played tennis?" Ethan nodded. "Once upon a time." Her eyes searched his. "Then good luck." But the truth was, Ethan didn't just play tennis. He used to live it. But that secret wasn't ready to surface. Not yet. Saturday came far too quickly. The Riverside Elite Tennis Club was buzzing with whispers the moment Ethan walked in wearing a faded t-shirt and inexpensive sneakers. Members stared. Some laughed. Some felt sorry. Most believed the match would be an amusing story to tell at dinner parties. Alexander stood on the far side of the court, dazzling in designer tennis gear, surrounded by friends and admirers. Madison was there too, but her expression wasn't entertained. It was worried. Ethan bounced nervously on his heels as he waited for the match to begin. His heart thudded with old memories he tried hard to suppress, memories of trophies, coaches shouting encouragement, crowds cheering his name. And the night everything fell apart. But this wasn't about the past. It was about dignity. Respect. Standing up, not just for himself, but for every person Alexander thought he was better than. The match began. And the moment Ethan hit the first return, Madison gasped. Because the ball didn't just go back, it sang through the air. Powerful. Precise. Controlled. Alexander frowned. Hit harder next time. Ethan returned that too. And the next. And the next. Within minutes, the smirk on the CEO's face evaporated. The crowd murmured. Who is this guy? Is he a pro? I thought he was the janitor. Ethan kept his expression calm, but inside he was shaking. His muscles remembered the rhythm, the footwork, the angles. His body moved like it was born to do this, because once, it was. Alexander grew frustrated, then desperate. His swings became sloppy, rushed, sloppy again. Ethan didn't need to overpower him, he simply let Alexander defeat himself. Madison watched with wide eyes. By the end of the second set, the impossible was happening. Ethan Cole, the janitor, was 1 point away from beating the CEO in front of everyone. Which brings us back to the moment the world stopped. Match point. Ethan tossed the ball into the air. Alexander braced. Madison held her breath. But before Ethan could swing, Alexander shouted. Stop. The entire club froze. You, Alexander panted, pointing at Ethan with shaking fingers, you're cheating. No janitor plays like that. Ethan lowered the racket slowly. I'm not cheating, he said. Oh yeah? Alexander sneered. Then explain this. Who taught you? Where did you learn to hit like a pro? Ethan inhaled deeply. And finally, the truth he'd run from for years was ready to surface. My father, Ethan said quietly. He trained me. Your father? Alexander mocked. Who the hell is your father? Some local coach? A high school trainer? Ethan met his eyes. No, he said softly. My father was. But before he could finish, a familiar voice echoed from the entrance. His father was legendary pro champion Nathan Cole. The crowd gasped. Madison's jaw dropped. And Alexander turned white as snow. The truth returns to the court. Nathan Cole. A name whispered in every American tennis academy. A man whose highlight reels still circulated online. A prodigy who nearly won the US Open before a career-ending accident. And Ethan? His only son. People swarmed closer, whispering in disbelief. That can't be. Nathan Cole's son? He disappeared years ago. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment, pain flickering across his face. Madison stepped toward him. Ethan, is that true? He nodded. My dad raised me on tennis. He taught me everything, footwork, timing, mental discipline. He believed I could make it to the pros. And for a while, I did too. Alexander's lips trembled. What happened? Ethan looked down at his hands. He passed away. Heart attack. I was 19.